Dolphins Today is sponsored by Mint Mobile. The cell phone provider owned by famous actor Ryan Reynolds is our newest sponsor here at Chat Sports, and they're offering cell phone plans starting as low as $15 per month. We'll tell you a little bit more about them later on in today's show. MintMobile.com/chatsports is where you can get that great deal that they're giving you. With that, we get into today's show. I am Will Scott. Welcome into Dolphins Today, and training camp is right around the corner. Rookies reported yesterday, veterans reported today, so we're going to be bringing you a lot of training camp content, a lot of roster discussion as well. Today's show is going to be about roster bubble candidates. 7 guys that I consider to be on the Dolphins roster bubble. Some notable names that might get cut. But first, go down, hit that thumbs up icon, give us a like on this video. If you're excited about the Dolphins season, I'm pumped. I know you're pumped as well, Fins Nation. Hit that thumbs up icon if you're ready to get rolling on the 2022 season. Let's talk about Salvon Ahmed, who last season was the 3rd running back on this team behind Myles Gaskin and Phillip Lindsay. Now he's the 5th running back and on the hot seat after the notable running back signings that the Dolphins have had. We've talked a lot about Gaskin maybe being on the way out. Ahmed, his seat is even hotter than Gaskin's. When you look at this running back depth chart, you brought in Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, and Sony Michel. You signed Zaquandre White as a UDFA. He's made a lot of strides. Jared Dokes is someone who spent last season on the practice squad. So Ahmed very much on the roster bubble. I think he needs to go off to have a shot of making this team, because even if Gaskin gets traded and Ahmed moves up to maybe the 4th running back on this depth chart, he's still not a lock to make the team because he has White and Dokes behind him. He needs to turn in a very impressive training camp, and he needs to play very well in preseason games. If he doesn't, he will get cut. I don't think Gaskin is on the roster bubble, and here's why. Yes, right now he's the 4th running back on this depth chart. I would be shocked if they don't carry at least 4 running backs. So I think Gaskin's job is safe. However, he's very much a trade candidate. In fact, I think he will get traded before the start of the season when you consider the number of teams in the NFL that need some running back depth. The Dolphins have plenty of it. Other teams need a little bit more. Now, who is more likely to be on the team week 1? Is it Myles Gaskin or is it Salvon Ahmed? Type MG for Gaskin or type SA for Ahmed. It's the pinned comment on today's video. When ad break comes, go down. Let me know what you think more likely to be on the team. Preston Williams, you might be surprised to see him on this list, but he is on the roster bubble, kind of the 5th wide receiver, I would say, right now for the Dolphins. Here's what he's done in his career. He spent 3 seasons in the NFL, all with the Miami Dolphins, 56 receptions, 7 touchdowns. When he's on the field, he's a weapon. The problem is, as you can see on the far left corner of your screen, he's only played in 24 games in his first 3 seasons. He cannot stay healthy. He cannot stay on the field. That is a problem and a reason that I think he might be on the roster bubble. And then you look at the depth that the Dolphins have at the wide receiver position. They drafted Eric Eguavoen, traded for Tyreek Hill, signed Cedric Wilson, and then, of course, Jalen Waddle. So those 4 wide receivers, I think, are the only 4 really firm locks. Then you have Lynn Bowden Jr., River Craycraft, Trent Sherfield, Preston Williams fighting for the final 2 or 3 spots. They'll carry 6 or 7 wide receivers, but I don't think Preston Williams is safe, because if he does not turn in a good training camp, if he doesn't look good in preseason games, and let's say a guy like River Craycraft, who looked good throughout OTAs and camp, if he produces, if Trent Sherfield, who looked really good throughout OTA and minicamp as well, if those guys go out and produce, I think Preston Williams, his job might be in trouble. Now, go down, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we're bringing you Dolphins news, rumors, and more all year long. I think a lot of Dolphins channels and NFL channels in general are just starting to come back because the season is on the horizon. We've been bringing you content throughout the entire offseason. We don't sleep here at Chat Sports. Go down, hit that big red subscribe button if you're all about defense. Adam Shaheen is next up on our list here, a tight end. He was the third tight end last year on the Dolphins, and his job might be in serious, serious trouble because I am very, very high on Hunter Long. I like what Long brings to the table. They re-signed Gaskin and Smythe, two tight ends that were free agents on this team, and you bring them back. Correction, they tagged Mike Gesicki, but they still brought both of those guys back, Gesicki and Smythe. Then you have Hunter Long, you have Tanner Connor, you have Carter. So I think Adam Shaheen, when you look at this, he could be the odd man out. In fact, I think Shaheen is going to get cut. I think it's far more likely that the Dolphins carry 4 or 5 running backs than 4 or 5 tight ends, right? Last year, they carried 5 tight ends on their initial 53-man roster. That is somewhat unusual, and they only carry 3 running backs. Mike McDaniel is all about running the football. That's what he wants to pride himself on, his offense. I think he's only going to carry 3 tight ends, which means Shaheen might get cut. Now, let me tell you about our friends at Mint Mobile because they're bringing you unlimited talk and text, high-speed data, mobile hotspot, and most importantly, plans starting at $15 a month. And look, with inflation right now, we're all looking to save money. Mint Mobile, $15 a month for a cell phone plan. You cannot get better than that. Your mom might ask you to stop calling because you're going to have all this unlimited data that you've probably never had before for that cheap. Unlimited premium wireless that Mint Mobile is bringing you, just $15 a month. That's the link right there. If you want that deal, $15 a month for a cell phone plan, you got to go to that link, mintmobile.com/chatsports. I know what you're asking. Will, do I need to get a new phone? Do I need to get a new phone number? No and no. You can keep your phone. You can keep your phone number. You don't even have to go to a store. You can do it all from the comfort of your home. mintmobile.com/chatsports. That link is in the comments and the description of this video. Sam Eguavoen next up on our list here, a linebacker, and interestingly enough, ESPN projected him to get cut. When ESPN did their roster projection, they projected Sam Eguavoen to be cut. I, however, projected him to make the team as the 9th linebacker. I think that when you look at the linebacker situation right now, it's a little bit interesting, but they might carry 9. ESPN projected them to carry 8 and Eguavoen to be the odd man out. But this is a very, very loaded depth chart right now at the tight end position. And in fact, it's funny because we talk about maybe signing Reuben Foster, signing a tight end in free agency, adding a little bit more depth to this position. It is worth noting that they signed Porter Gustin a few weeks back, who spent much of last season on the Browns practice squad. I don't know if he's going to make this team. He might be a roster bubble candidate as well. But I just wanted to note that ESPN does not think Eguavoen is going to make this team because they think they're just going to carry 8 linebackers. Now I'm going to go back to being Willie Betts again. Over under 8.5 linebackers make the roster. That's the line I'm setting. ESPN thinks 8. I think 9. Is it over or under? Type O for over or type U for under down in the comments section. Go down and predict it. Let's talk about another linebacker. That is Cameron Goode, a 7th-round pick out of Cal, who I'm really high on. And it's funny because when the team met with him prior to the draft, I thought that they were probably going to look to sign him as a UDFA. I did not think he was going to get drafted because he did not get invited to the NFL Combine. He was a pretty big snub because he had 37 career starts at Cal, 20 sacks, very impressive career over there in the Pac-12, drafted by the Fins in the 7th round. But when you're talking about Goode and his chances of making this team, it's going to be an uphill battle. I mean, if ESPN thinks Sam Eguavoen is going to get cut, who played 17 games, all 17 games last season for the Dolphins as a backup linebacker, it's going to be tough. Let's talk about Kellen Diesch now, an offensive tackle who is an undrafted free agent, had no business being an undrafted free agent, arguably the best UDFA in the National Football League. He was a projected 4th-round pick. And when we're doing our draft coverage here at Chat Sports and, all these guys are getting picked, I mean, my goodness, what is it, 240-something draft picks. So I thought that Kellen Diesch had been drafted. I just assumed he had been drafted. I didn't think he had any chance to fall out of this draft. He did. Dolphins take advantage, pick him up, and he's a guy that could be maybe the right tackle of the future if things pan out for him. ESPN does not think Diesch is going to make the team. I do think Diesch is going to make the team. And when you're looking at the UDFA situation in terms of UDFA's chances of making a team, you have to look at two things. One, the guaranteed money he got. He got a lot of that, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Two, you have to look at his position battles. Do you really think that Coleman or Pankey is going to beat out Kellen Diesch with all this potential, with all this upside? No, Diesch will make this team. In fact, he might be starting as the right tackle before year's end. That might be a hot take. I think it's possible. Hunter Long is our final roster bubble candidate that we're going to talk about today. Someone who is a third-round pick out of Boston College in 2021. 7 games played, just 1 reception last season. He was not really utilized in this Dolphins offense, barely played. I do believe that is going to change this season. I think he's going to have a lot more production. He's going to have an increased role in year 1 of Mike McDaniel. I want to see if he can be the guy to replace Gesicki, and I think that's kind of what Miami is thinking. In fact, when Gesicki did not get extended at the deadline last week, I said one of the reasons for that could be Hunter Long. So if you had to pick one to make the team, and I think this is the battle for the third tight end spot, is it going to be Adam Shaheen, or is it going to be Hunter Long? Type AS for Adam Shaheen, or type HL for Hunter Long down in the comments section. I think a lot of people, at least outside of Miami, are probably thinking Shaheen just because of the name. But let me tell you, Hunter Long is going to make this team. Here are my predictions. So I think Salvon Ahmed gets cut. If they trade Gaskin, that might change. But right now, with Gaskin still on the roster, Ahmed will be cut. Preston Williams, I think, makes this team, is kind of the 5th wide receiver. Lynn Bowden Jr., I think, the 6th wide receiver, makes it. If they carry 7, I expect that to be River Craycraft that gets that final spot. Adam Shaheen will be cut. Hunter Long will make it. I think Sam Eguavoen makes it as the 9th linebacker. Cameron Goode on the practice squad. And then Kellen Diesch makes this team. Could have an increased role as the season winds down. Maybe week 13 or 14, he might develop into a starting caliber offensive tackle. Thanks for watching Dolphins Today. Appreciate y'all watching it, subscribing to the channel. If you ever have any questions for me, go follow me on Twitter at WillScott44. My guy Miami Dakota hit me up with a trade idea earlier this morning, so my DMs are open. Hit me up if you have any questions about the Fins.